So I busted out my 60-year-old view light projector here, and I take a photocopied image and actually project this to a big piece of cardboard that's hanging on the back of my garage. So I'm tracing out the outline of the sunglasses and the letters. Once I get done, I'll take that image and start chopping it up into pieces using all these separate pieces as templates for this sign. So I'll start out by cutting out the base layer out of this 1-inch thick piece of high density urethane. Cut those out with the reciprocating saw. Trace out the frames and take that next layer and trace that out onto another 1/2-inch piece of this HDU. This will give me the extra thickness for the frames of the glasses. It's kind of thin here, and I ended up breaking this. I had to fix it with some Gorilla Glue. After it was all glued together, I went back to doing some sanding. Had to make a smaller sanding block here just because of some of the corners were a little bit tighter. So getting everything rounded off and smoothed out. Here I'm cutting out the actual letters. I'm going to make 2 sets of these letters and put 1 set on each one of the lenses. So I'm cutting all this out with the same 1/2-inch HDU. Had to drill some holes and get the centers of the B's cut out. Took the rest of the letters over to the bandsaw. Was able to use the bandsaw to cut everything else out. Spent some time sanding all these letters down, got everything nice and rounded off. So I decided to add another layer behind the lettering to act as a black outline. After getting the letters traced, I was able to take this 14 gauge aluminum over to my bandsaw, cut it all out. Did a little bit of sanding here, getting ready for paint. And use this SEM matte black trim paint to paint this backdrop for the letters. It's really good paint if you ever need to paint anything black. Then went right into priming the letters with some sealer. I use this Montana brand hardcore spray paint. Kind of going for a 80s Miami Vice look for these sunglasses. Use Gorilla Glue construction adhesive to take the finished letters and glue them onto that background. That black highlight really made these letters pop. What do you think? So now I'll use that sunglass frame as a template to cut out the actual lenses for the sunglasses. Using a 14 gauge aluminum here. Go right into some trimming and get this lens to fit into the sunglass frame. So I decided on a brushed aluminum look for these lenses. I missed recording gluing up the frames, but here's me taking them apart. Then finishing up the edges, make sure that base layer and that frame layer matches up and nice and smooth. Then went right into priming the frames. So originally I was thinking I had to ship these in two separate parts, but was able to figure out a way to ship them as one piece. So I decided to use a countertop clamp. I could have probably bought these on Amazon for $10 or $12, but just decided to make them. What it is a couple of little half round circles with a piece of all thread in the middle. Used the router to cut the slots between the countersunk holes, then measured and cut the all thread to fit between the clamping ends. Used the original Gorilla Glue to glue and clamp the two pieces together, and this is kind of what it ended up looking like. After I got everything sanded, I decided to paint the back of the sunglasses flat black just to give it a finished look. Then went right into painting the frames with this turquoise blue, kind of adding to that 80s Miami Vice look. Used that same Montana hardcore spray paint. Then it was time to put the lenses in using that same Gorilla construction adhesive. Then went right into gluing in the letters. And as a final touch, hand painted some highlights on the lenses just to give them a little more 3D effect. And this is what it ended up looking like. The sign ended up being about 68 inches wide, about 24 inches tall. Thanks for watching.